So, what's plans for Thanksgiving, Lanice?
I am going to have dinner at my cousin's house that's here in the QC.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
her, my aunt, and my what- well, two of her grandsons. Well, her two grandsons will be there. Um,
Okay,
so, and I'm assuming their family. So, break bread with them. I'm on macaroni duty, so I'll be on that tomorrow.
you'll be on that tomorrow. Got to get the cheeses.
Yep.
Get
I
the
was gonna
cheeses.
go buy the stuff tonight, but it's been raining cats, dogs, and frogs all day today, and I just didn't have it in me.
I think is it raining up there, Prayer? Because it's been raining out here like that
Yeah,
too.
it's raining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
one of
raining.
those East Coast things. I'm thinking because my mom got up. She gets up every day at like 7:30, and go walking and everything. I walked with her yesterday. I got my mom here, Denise, for the week, and
Oh,
went walking
okay.
with her yesterday to kind of show her the neighborhoods, show her where to go. Where not to go, really, actually. Don't go
That's
down
fair.
there. Don't, and then she got up this morning and she got up, she was putting the clothes on and everything. And I'm coming out, rubbing my eyes, like, what are you doing? She was like, I'm about to go walking. I'm like, not in that. She looked out the window like, not in that.
Yeah.
Like, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
I got exercise
Right
by
before we got
there.
on, I was finishing setting up the brine for the turkey.
There you go. You frying
Okay.
it?
Yep.
You frying
Yes,
it?
You
yeah,
frying?
I'm frying it.
Mm,
Yep.
okay. I was, of course, the natural order of sports and football and all the stuff is going on, but then I saw like a couple of the breaking news is because I hadn't, really paid attention. I didn't really pay attention to the games that much Sunday actually until later on. But that whole, I guess Mike Tomlin finally got to a point where he had to break the code, I guess.
Right. And
What I
it
want to
took
know is
way
why
too
is that
long.
news?
I mean, but it's news because I think that's something that we just don't hear out there in Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't remember ever seeing coaches getting fired in the middle of the season. I mean, maybe I go ahead.
It hasn't happened in our lifetime. The last time the Steelers made a coaching change this season was 1941.
Right, any coach, right? Like any major
Any coach.
position coach, like coordinator, or head coach. Yeah, that's what I was like. I think that's the only reason it's news, prayer, because as much
What
as
I'm
we
saying is,
go ahead.
what's the difference with the Steelers' offense now than it was a week ago?
Yeah, but
Well,
at least they're not banging their head on the same wall. Maybe it's now a slightly softer wall, because at least they have an opportunity to actually let somebody else take the wheel. The main cog in that whole thing, I guess what you're getting to is that, I mean, at the end of the day, the quarterback is pulling the trigger, but we've seen flashes. I mean, I'm not a Kenny Pickett fan or believer or whatever. I wasn't,
right.
but we've seen flashes of it. So I'm guessing maybe they think they could bottle that up, bottle that little bit of lightning up and see if anybody else can let it out. I don't know, man. I don't
Well,
know.
Listening to the press conference uh, when they were interviewing Mike Tomlin, he made a valid point. He was like, he's not seeing any progression, and he didn't say it, but honestly, they need to figure out what they need to do in this draft with QB wise.
Yeah,
So
I don't
we
think it's
need to
that hard.
know. We need to
me
know.
neither.
We need
It's
to
not
know
that
that
hard.
that's the OC, or is the OC's play calling really that bad?
I think it's both. I
Right.
think
Oh,
it's
Like, I think it
both.
might be a combo, but several people have pointed out, which I was like, oh, okay, I mean, I guess I could see what they were saying. They were like, Canada wasn't, like, you know how most OCs have a game plan? And
wait a minute. Watching the NFL this year, maybe 5% of them have a game plan.
right. But he absolutely was just calling plays to call plays. And I think probably more than anything, the reason why they pulled the trigger, if you saw any of the post game interviews after the game this weekend, the players, you could tell the players were frustrated because the players were talking, which is very unusual with the exception of like Antonio Brown in the Steelers locker room. Like they usually just walk the company line and they were basically like, You know, because like Najee Harris was like, I mean, if you look at our record, you can say we're okay. He was like, but if we keep playing like this, it's not sustainable. Like, there's no way we win anything this way because, and then he used some explicitives. He was clearly frustrated all to be damned.
I mean,
literally half, if not more, of every team in every division when you watch them play, offensively, there appears to be no game plan. And then there's several teams, if you watch them defensively, there's no game plan. Like Washington, no game plan at all. Chicago, they got, 4 turnovers entirely by accident. I don't think the players even know how that happened.
They're like, oh,
and they didn't know how to hold on to it.
Right. So I mean, I don't know that Matt Canada is an outstanding candidate for anything midseason firing. Okay, 3/4 of these guys out there working the sidelines ought to be fired midseason.
Well, I guess my point is, Prev, that look, we're on the same page, but I guess the point is we know that. And I think some of these teams, especially some of the teams that aren't really trying to win, I mean, they just semi-tanking or just maybe they're just really, really that damn bad as far as, like you said, coaching and stuff. But the bottom line is, I'm with you. A lot of them cats need to be fired. Like a Brandon Staley. He needs to go. Like, we know that certain things, Ron Rivera, I mean, I think some of these guys.
I mean, and it's not like we're just arriving at this in the last 5 games. Like, I think it's kind of over with.
Well, that's the thing.
You've been bad for years.
Canada should have been fired last year at the end of last season.
Right.
He should have been fired this time last year.
Well, there's that. Because to me, I feel like you can't really, because even if you think your QB might not be amazing, you don't really know if you got the same dude that's terrible as the OC still trying to coach him up halfway through the season, and now you're trying to make decisions based off of what you see left the half of the season without an OC. Like, I mean, but they're probably hoping. Here's the problem. Buffalo fired their OC, and all of a sudden they had a great game plan and won.
No, all of a sudden they played the Jets.
I was about to say, I'm really getting tired of not you, Lenise, but I'm getting tired of these cats giving cats props for beating Jetses and Panthers and Giantses and like,
damn,
losing the Giants.
What the narrative
I know what you're saying. I know.
I didn't say I thought it was a good narrative.
I did. I know. I'm not blaming you. Go ahead.
Like that, and so they're like, oh my goodness, it was a great game plan. I was like, was it, or did they play the Jets? Like, I mean, because at a certain point, you have to accept that you're playing the Jets. And yes, their defense is good, but it's the Jets. Like,
yeah, I mean, the bottom
line is, the ball back.
Yeah, what you say?
You're gonna get the ball back
every time.
Right.
Yeah, and I think
3 plays, it's coming back to you
quickly. Like, so I mean,
it comes back. It's almost like it comes back so fast. You almost ask, did they actually have 3 downs to get to the 4th down?
Yeah, you don't even have time to make
2 and out or 3 and out. 2 and out. 3. Oh, they actually did 3 plays and out.
Yeah,
bad, man. Oh my God.
I mean, and I know I'm clowning the Jets, and that's
the
our
offense is
one
leaving
loss,
the field, and you're already sending your punt return team back out there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and you saw us though. They finally, I guess, said, "Look, I tried to give Zach Wilson some credit. I still don't believe in your boy, the OC there. Was it Nathaniel Hackett? I still don't believe in what he's doing. To your point, Prev, but Zach had never showed or hadn't shown enough to really say is really on him. But at the same time, that's what they get paid to do. Like, you get paid to figure it out. So now we're figuring out that you're going to go to a quarterback change. There's a mess in New York, bro.
Wait, and you're going to, but this, how bad are you? You're going to your 3rd string quarterback. Trevor Siemian is going to be your backup, and Zach Wilson is basically your relief pitcher in case of emergency break your ass.
That's why I was like, I didn't understand all the outcry to bench Zach Wilson. Like, y'all act like there's a better quarterback on the roster.
Right, it's gonna be the same thing, and the main point is, like you said,
have y'all seen Trevor Siemian play football before? He's had a lot of chances.
I've tried not to.
I mean, well, Trevor's not starting; he's the backup.
but the fact that he is the backup, it means that
it should let you know
on
something.
Your roster. It's not good.
Right.
It's not good at all because Trevor Siemian was at the house probably in the kid drop-off line like a week ago.
It's so, to your point, you got a combination of probably bad play calling, bad quarterbacking, bad offensive line. It don't matter who you putting back there. It don't. You know what I'm saying? Like they were talking about
it's like the Patriots benching quarterbacks, and then got the nerve sitting there talking about you'll find out on game day who's going to be the starting quarterback in New England. Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
What defensive coordinator you think is sitting there worried about who's starting in New England?
Right.
You know who it ain't?
Some of these situations, like we're in week 11 now. We're in week 11.
Yeah. Well, we're headed into week 12.
Headed into week 11. I'm like,
70.
No, we're headed into week 12. We're headed
into week 12. That's what I'm saying. Cats are what they are, man. This
you got a whole 70-some-year-old man trying to play like it's the Little Giants Part 2. You'll find out on when we start. You know who's going to be our quarterback.
I thought Belichick.
Nobody cares who your quarterback is.
Belichick said he told all of his QBs to be ready. That's what he said.
Okay. And the QBs is like this. Man, what you want us to do?
I need all of y'all ready. All of y'all ready.
Yeah. You think that, man, how you think that's going to play at the end of the season with Belichick? I mean, it's all types of different scenarios out there. I heard another scenario today that's talking about actually trading him to another team. I was like, what?
But I hope for the sake of every stupid NFL president and general manager, many of whom are facilitating between, can we get Bill Belichick at this age, or is it going to be Lincoln Riley? So for the sake of all those presidents and GMs that are out there thinking like this, I can only hope the Patriots hold on to him for one more year.
Mm-hmm. And why would you say that?
I mean, because that's kind of like the proton nuclear bomb of stupidity we're talking about at this point.
Oh, bringing Belichick in to another, or I mean, what do you mean? Elaborate on that.
I mean, who really trying to get Bill Belichick at this point?
They had some sign. There was a rumor out there that they're gonna drop. They're gonna probably. He could slide into somewhere like what was it? They said somebody. What was they talking about? Oh, the Chargers. It was like if Brandon Staley leaves, will they bring Belichick in for a year or two so that he can? Right. And mainly, and it's not even about trying to change. It's kind of crazy because they basically brought up the wins record. Because they like, where can he go to get the wins record? Because he's not, I forgot how many wins.
Because he's 13 wins away, right, or something like that.
Yeah, and they were like, even if he stayed in New England for another year, he might not get it.
It's either San Francisco or Philly. It's one of those two.
And both of them are good at head coach.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what place can you go and strip talent so fast to play without a quarterback, to play without wide receivers, to play without a running back, and try and chase a win record?
Yeah, I think that's why somebody brought up LA, the Chargers, because they have people in place and they actually have talent on defense that needs to be coached up. So I think that's why.
I ain't paying them.
Yeah. But that's only if he goes there as the GM and the coach. Now, if he goes there as the coach, he just
and then some. I don't know. I feel like it's.
But I don't think that's real. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think either he'll come back or he'll be done. One of the two.
Yeah, somebody said that they thought, well, there was a rumor that they were going to mutually agree to part ways or something like that at the end of the season. But then some people said that they felt like he would stay if Robert Kraft could figure out how to get him to, I guess, give up the GM part.
But do we even know that Robert Kraft wants him to do that? I mean, I think we're all assuming because they've been so, quote unquote, not picking talent, or he's not been picking talent, which, to Previn's point about earlier about bad coaching across the league, it's not like a lot of GMs have been, you can point to a lot of GMs that's made some good choices. That's why some of these teams are still bad. That's been bad. But is it really something where are we speculating and listening? I mean, hell, Robert Kraft might be like, it is what it is. I mean, he may massage on some of the decision making and maybe listen to more people, but do he really take the reins from that and try to, I don't know. I guess I don't see Belichick giving it up without just saying, look, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna just let you guys pick talent around me unless I get a chance the chance to pick the person to help me pick. Because why would I let you pick someone that I haven't been doing that for years. And now
listen, Pete, I get it. I'm just,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like get off my lawn kind of thing. Like, I'm not gonna let another young guy, Buck, or come in, or a person I don't even know or trust to come in and start picking my players, and then I gotta coach them. It's like it's just gonna be interesting. But I think he comes back another year. I think he's just gonna come back.
He's got 2 years left on his contract, doesn't he?
And I think he's gonna ride him out. And
yeah, I don't see Robert Kraft firing him, but I could be wrong because years and years and years ago, I didn't see Jerry Jones firing Tom Landry.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, man, that's but as far as I guess last night goes, I know you were happy with your Eagles. I think the story. I mean, everybody been talking about it, but like we had talked about earlier in the year. I mean, the receivers are who they are in Kansas City. I mean, they are who they are. People say get Kelsey some help, whatever. I mean, what are you gonna do now? You just got to go play the game. These dudes have trouble catching the football. I mean, no, and I don't think any receiver on that Chiefs team scares anybody. I mean, so I don't know why people are like, oh my God, this is Patrick Mahomes. He ain't that. I mean, he's Superman, but he can't throw it and catch it, as they say. An old cliche. He can't throw it and catch it. I mean, that game, as much as the Eagles won that game, as a football fan, they could have easily lost that game too. Like it's just there's a lot of plays was left out there, man.
They absolutely could have. That game could have gone. That game was a lot like the Dallas game. It could have gone either way. But I don't know. All day today, I've listened to mostly people talk about how the Chiefs lost the game. Like nobody's trying to give Philly any credit for it.
Stop that. There you go. Which media are you looking at? Which media are you looking at?
See, I've watched ESPN, I've watched Fox, I've watched the NFL Network, and everybody has spent time up. And I watched NFL Inside the NFL tonight before the show. I've been all over the place watching.
Did you say
everybody has talked about.
I'm so glad I was like at work today. I don't have to watch this.
And I'm working from home. So I just turn I'm in one room and the TV's on in the room right beside me, so I can just listen to what they're saying. But and all day today, the conversation has been how the Chiefs lost the game, Philly didn't really win, and then every now and again somebody jump in and be like, I mean, well, their defense did hold them to 0 points in the second half. I was like, well, gee guys, thanks for giving the defense credit for that. And then then they turn back to but they dropped so many passes. They didn't drop so many passes. 4.
But don't do that, because it don't matter.
Three of them happened to be in the final in the last crucial part of the game and the drive.
Don't do that. Don't fall into their hands on saying that, because now you're gonna sound like a bitter Eagles fan instead of a good football mind like you are.
No, I'm not a bitter Eagles fan, but it was 4 drop passes. Yes, 3 of them were in the final drive, but don't hold that against me, because one of them one of them, to our credit, Watson alligator arms because he knew he was getting ready to get smacked across the middle.
Understood.
And he absolutely did not catch that ball on purpose because he knew he was about to get hit.
Understood.
But I will say this about the Chiefs, which I had noticed, but I was just watching to see what was going to happen. One, they should have made a move before the trade deadline to get anybody else that can catch a ball other than Travis Kelce. 2, quiet as kept, not really that quiet. They are missing Eric Bieniemy. They're missing Eric Bieniemy because last night when I was like, I'm actually watching the whole game. Their young receivers, Watson's not that bad. However, it's clear that he ain't really spending time in the film room with Patrick Mahomes like he should, because he's not reading the defenses and seeing the same thing that Patrick is seeing. There were several times last night, especially near the end of the game in them crucial moments, where he cut his route off early or he cut it the wrong way because he didn't realize which way defense was trailing. And he cut and turned into the coverage. And I was like, well, that's a young wide receiver mistake. And your young wide receivers should be coming further along because you should have seen that earlier in the season, which was on film. And a coach, a good one, probably a hard coach like Eric Bieniemy, I'm going to argue, would have dug into you and coached you up on that sooner. Because now, again, we're headed into week 12, so you are what you are. I'm not really sure what I can get you, but the Chiefs are so used to being able to play recess backyard football and just winging it. You can't do that with a first-year receiver. He don't know what's winging. He needs to know how to run a route and how to read the defenses before he can start playing recess.
Yeah, I got a take on that, Prev. I mean, I'll let you get in. I mean, as far as any opinion on that game last night, as far as the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Well, it's not much, but if we have to talk about receivers and teams coached by Andy Reid, it's not that surprising that they didn't move on anyone. We remember we are talking about a coach with the same organization that went through an entire season and I believe won a playoff game, and not a single wide receiver caught a touchdown pass.
Good point. I do remember that.
If Andy Reid has it in his head that he doesn't need to add, I won't say talent, a better rounded player at a position, he just won't until he decides he will.
Right.
But Andy Reid's not the GM.
But here's okay, now I got a different point to that. So here's what I'm gonna say. We should have known they weren't gonna add a receiver because we can sit here and talk about who to pay and all this other stuff. You let Tyreek Hill walk out the door after winning the Super Bowl. And I know he wanted his money, but if they were looking at a situation where they felt like they needed a big target or name target or true number one, they would have found a way to work that deal out. So that's number one. Number two, to your point about coaching up, I mean, that's probably a big factor. But to play backyard football or to play that scramble drill kind of football, it's obvious that the only person that knows Patrick Mahomes' tendencies is Travis Kelce because they haven't been there. Like, you can't keep shuffling in and out receivers because even some of the receivers that were there last year are gone. So, and so now you got a new crop of players trying to understand the nuances of all the little options and things within an offense. Yeah, it could be coaching. It also could be the fact that he's just not good enough. I mean, both can be true on that, right? I mean, these guys, Shannon Sharp pointed out some fundamentals today that was interesting. He was like, your boy missed that catch last night. He was like, he's a body catcher. And I was like, what is he talking about? And he said, look at when he catches the ball. He was like, as soon as he grabbed the ball, his first instinct was to pull the ball to his shoulder instead of grabbing it. And I was like, good point. He said, some guys are who they are, what they are. And you can't, in a situation like that, you make the throw. That's why he was like, Patrick Mahomes said, I could have underthrown it a little bit because he was thinking about the person that he threw the ball to. Right. And he was like, well, that was one of those times I should have probably put it on him as much as I could close to his body. But at the end of the day, these guys who are who what they are. And I think to Previn's point, Andy Reid has found ways to win, not having, you should know better than anybody. And he's found ways to win without having, not say star receivers. They always say decent receivers, but
that's why I didn't say they weren't talented. I didn't say they weren't.
Yeah, they're decent. Like, he just didn't run the offense that way.
And I'm not, and like I said, I'm not saying they're not talented, but like Watson.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I'm just making a point. Yeah, that's all.
But Watson and Rice are both rookies, and I think now right. Tony is maybe he's the third.
Tony is Tony.
Yeah, I think he's his third year, but I mean, he, quote unquote like first round talent or whatever.
Right, but I think they took him in the first round, but he's not really first round talent. But to that point, but they definitely, but what people have been saying that all year, like y'all need somebody other than Travis Kelce, because like we did on that play where your man dropped the ball, we put 3 on Travis Kelce.
Bottom line is Patrick Mahomes can't do it all by himself. I mean, everybody knows that. So, do you think they're going to be You think they still got the track on the 1 seed? I mean, because the Ravens kind of shaky here and there. I mean, I know. Look, my Dolphins, they kind of shaky here and there. Like, who gonna be the 1 seed out there in the AFC?
I can't. I just don't know what the Ravens are gonna do because, like, they can't seem to get there.
You can say that about pretty much every AFC team, though. Every leading team, there's flaws all over
the top three. I don't think it matters who's a 1 seed.
Well, I'm thinking about that quote unquote bye, because that's just one less game you have a chance of losing.
But honestly, I will say this: I feel like I don't know if they'll get the 1 seed, but I feel like
who you talking about, the Chiefs?
More than ever, they need it.
Oh, you're talking about the Chiefs?
I'm talking about the Chiefs. I don't know if they'll get the 1 seed, but this is the year that I feel like more than ever they need it.
Yeah.
Previous years, I felt like they could pack that up and take it on the road anywhere, and for the most part, have a really good chance of winning. And I just don't feel that way about them this year.
We're gonna have some different. Well, not totally.
I just feel like their play this year it's not the pack it up and play anywhere kind of play. I feel like they need that home field, but I just don't know if they're going to get it. But if there was another team that would end up with it, it would be Baltimore. But I got more faith in the Chiefs getting it than I do Baltimore, because Baltimore, they'll wet the bed in a minute. Like,
there's nobody in the AFC that makes me feel comfortable talking about them, and I guess that's why go week to week. I'm just sitting there thinking of the teams.
It was the Bengals until Joe Burrow got hurt.
Yeah, but they had ground to make up.
Once you start, you look at that like a Bengals, the poison pill, or the Browns.
Who's actually in first place in the AFC North now, right? They're actually in first place in the AFC North. They're 7-3, right? The Browns.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you score 11 points, you got them.
Right. Right.
Well, no, the Ravens are still in first place in the AFC North.
Oh, no, that's right. The Ravens are 8-3, but the Browns are 7-3, I think. The Ravens haven't had their bye week yet.
So like I said, once you're talking about that team that you got to play in the wild card, and you look at the ones that are kind of like the Bills. I mean, the Bills are, the Bills and the Browns. I mean, I'm still going to take probably any one of those top three at that point, just because of, especially like the Browns. Like, they've overachieved, they're punching above their weight. At this point, they were already doing that. Now, yeah,
they're closer to those, and I'm not calling them the 2000 Ravens, but they're probably closer to the analogy or the comparison of the 2000 Ravens, because they brought it up to date. It's like the Ravens teams, they weren't scoring more than 10 points a game, and they were winning because their defense was so deadly. The Cleveland's defense, like you say, they don't hold their opponents to 9 points.
Yeah, the Cleveland defense is the problem for real. But
yeah, the AFC has just got so many of the top teams have shown so much vulnerability this year. It's funny. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. It just leaves a little bit of mystery when you get to the playoffs, that you're not going to really truly favor, just because, and like you said, there's certain teams that may get the home field advantage. I mean, we talk about the Dolphins. I think they were talking about more the noise factor because of the way that we run our offense with some of the communications and the motions, just jet motions, all that stuff. But from a standpoint of just home field advantage, I mean, other than Kansas City in the AFC, I mean, is there really a home field advantage in any of the other teams? Miami, Baltimore, Jacksonville?
Well, I feel like
I'm trying to think of any
Miami,
other team that I would be scared to go into them and try to win a game. Like, Kansas City is like the only team I can think of that you would be like, okay, yeah, Arrowhead is that place. Like,
well, see, I feel like Miami and Jacksonville, I feel like their advantage is different from other teams because it's so hot and humid in Florida.
Not in January.
In Miami, it is.
I've been to a game in January, Miami. It wasn't that hot. Stop. It actually does get a little.
If you got an early game, and the way Miami Stadium is set up, if you got an early game and you sitting in the sun.
You're talking about sitting in the sun with the shadow.
Yeah. And I'm a different team, and I'm sitting in the sun. Guess what? In January,
hold on,
that's hot.
Lenise, people won't hip to the west side of the stadium center. I have been there a couple times. I was like, I got my ticket. It was over there. It was like, they are in the sun and we're in the shade because this is the side and this is where you sit.
Yeah, like
there's certain sections where you better sit.
Even in January,
right about that. I give you that.
Yeah, even in January, if you're the visiting team,
no, you're right.
I feel like that matters because because Tom Brady always struggled beating Miami in Miami. Probably because he was hot and bothered at some point. Because he running for his life because he got Jason and Zach on his behind.
Oh boy,
and it's hotter than he ever imagines it being in January or December playing football.
But I think, I guess
I feel like it's a unique advantage, not necessarily crowd noise wise, but I feel like kind of like going to play in the Mile House Stadium.
See, that would be interesting. And now that Denver's trying to win some games, see, that would be different, right? I mean, they ain't gonna get the 1 seed, but they mess around.
They're not.
Nah, and that's the thing. So the best they probably gonna do is a wild card. So you probably don't have to worry about that this year. But that's what I'm getting to. Like, I get what you're saying with Miami, but I also know that if you had to go to Buffalo or you had to go to Kansas City, those are like always in my mind in the AFC right now, the two places that nobody really wants to play. Hell, Buffalo don't even want to play in Buffalo sometimes. Like, so that's all I'm trying to think of, as opposed to if you think about the NFC, there's a few places that we've looked over the years, right? I mean, well, except for San Francisco coming into Lambeau and beating Aaron Rodgers. Like, Green Bay was always one of them spots. You know it's going to be cold in New York. One of those, the Giants happened, when they were making the playoffs or whatever. I'm trying to think. Dallas really ain't really a home field advantage. I mean, in my opinion.
I mean, the stadium is. I'm imagining the stadium is loud, but
it is.
But I would also say, my guess is that they're probably the easiest fan base to get out of the game in a hurry because they're used to the collapse. So one bad turn, and all of a sudden it's silent, and you can hear all your plays that you need.
Was that? And remind me real quick. Was the game between San Francisco and Philadelphia last year? Was that in San Francisco or in Philly?
It was in Philly.
Philly was the 1 seed last year?
Yeah, we were the 1 seed.
Okay. I couldn't remember. Because I would see San Francisco. Okay. Ooh, we got to go to San Francisco.
San Francisco was the 2 seed. We were the 1 seed.
I mean, okay, it's nice and sunny. We're going to have a nice game out here. The crowd might be loud a little bit. Okay, we going to Philly. Okay, wait a minute. All right, now I got to get my mind right. Like, it's just certain places I think are just different. And when it comes to that. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but I tell you one thing, though. Some damn Lions mess around and get the 1 seed. They gonna turn Detroit upside down. They gonna turn Detroit upside down. I wouldn't even want to go outside that city. They gonna go crazy. They may not even win a damn playoff game, but just the fact that they make the playoffs. Your boy actually, I just thought about that prayer of your boy is supposed to be there this weekend. He's going to the game on Thursday. Jason Graves. He said he was going to Detroit. Yeah, for the game, but
actually, I know 2 guys that's going to that game. I know another guy from around here.
Yeah,
from Detroit.
Who are they playing Thursday?
Who knows? Actually,
Packers.
They are playing the Packers. They're playing Packers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that might actually be a good game, but I don't know. The Packers
hit or miss. They play okay
it
here.
Depends. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
and Dallas is playing.
They play Washington.
Yeah.
Skip that one.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's put Steve Howe
back on Thursday night.
Thursday night is. I don't even know who playing Thursday night. I know Miami and the Jets play Friday afternoon.
Yeah, so
Thursday night is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Crazy. So I'm watching.
I don't even know who playing Thursday night.
Thursday night.
I don't even know if I'm gonna watch any game. Now that I'm sitting here talking about it.
Thursday night is probably.
Yeah, we run through it. Yeah.
I might watch I guess I'm more intrigued by the Lions this year because I'm just seeing if they're gonna just keep it going. Like I just want to see if this is really happening. I know they might be overachieving.
Let me look at the schedule.
But
there's no reason why anybody here on this Zoom screen should not be rooting for the Lions. We do have an Aggie as the general manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
so it's the 49ers and Seahawks on Thursday night.
Same thing as Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
What you say?
Same thing as Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit more offense, man.
Yeah, maybe. It's
the 49ers. It might be a little bit more offense.
Yeah, and it's in Seattle.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's in Seattle, so
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm watching National Lampoon. Y'all can watch that.
No, man, I'm not committing to anything. First of all,
at all.
I'm not committing to anything.
Listen, because
that truth thing hit.
I might listen because what I have started doing is giving these late games, Thursday, Sunday night, Monday night games. Unless it's the Eagles, I'm gonna give you like 15 solid minutes to see what it's looking like, and after that, I'm tapping out.
Dude, I almost tapped out in the game last night. I think I missed half of the third quarter because I was. Oh.
Like, you didn't hear me say unless it's the Eagles.
I'm just saying,
Like, I'm committed to staying up and watching the Eagles on those late night games. But anybody else, I don't have a dog in the fight, and it's been a lot of bad football plays this year.
It was interesting because did y'all get a chance to hear the clip from Tom Brady today?
Yes.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with him more. I mean, yeah.
Dude, just shut up and come back and play. For God's sake.
Let him come back and play. Roll out there.
Shut up and come back and play.
Come back to the Patriots.
Lord knows they need you.
I mean, he was just
can he come back and play since he now owns some of the Raiders? He owns part of the Raiders?
He could go to the Raiders. You're right. He could go to the Raiders.
I was I don't think he can play for anybody else but the Raiders now.
Yeah, now you're right about that. It was kind of the same thing with yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think he can.
Might as well.
I'll play for the team I own.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it was the leading scorer.
As he will be with the Raiders.
Anyway, but I think the one thing that he said that I liked though was the whole, like the penalties now, where like he said certain players will get penalties every single play, every time they tackle somebody, and he was like, he finally said what we all knew, that sometimes you just don't throw the ball in certain places against certain players, against certain teams, against certain players. Because he literally is like, I couldn't afford one of my players getting knocked out. I need him. He was like, I'm not going to throw the ball there.
He's like, I'm not throwing the ball there.
Let's be real about this. Let's really be real about this. Because cats be talking about, oh, well, no, throw the ball when the guy's open. No. That's Ray.
Yeah, don't run that young man across.
He's not open. He's just not dead yet.
Yeah.
When they were talking about it on First Take, they were talking about his quote. Jeff Saturday, he said, the problem is, he said, now you got folks all over the field. He said, but Peyton Manning used to talk to his receivers and be like, yeah, you can't do this or you can't make this play. He's like, because, listen, he's like, that's when you would let people know. He was like, Peyton used to say it all the time. He's like, they will drag you off the field by your boots.
Yeah, boots up. He's like, boots up. He's like, yeah, boots up.
He's like, he's going to drag you off the field by your boots.
It was like, nope, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do it. And Jeff Saturday was like, nobody talks to people like that. He's like, they don't say that anymore. He said, but listen, he said, there was a time when you had to let people, don't do that. Okay? Do not do that.
Now what he says ain't going to change.
Right.
But it is fair. It's just, I thought it was refreshing to hear him say that. Yeah,
it was refreshing to hear him say that. But to be fair, he's also the guy that got hurt and they changed the rules for him.
But was that his fault? That's my point. Like, we blame Tom Brady for getting hurt, for them changing the rule. They changed the rule because they didn't want to see Tom Brady not playing in the season. I don't ever blame him for that. I always say,
but he absolutely took advantage of it every chance he got.
and every other quarterback did too. That's the point.
Absolutely
Like
took
these rules
advantage of
don't
it.
just apply to just one person. To me, anytime you just like you talk about all the time about certain quarterbacks, like a Jalen Hurts, and we talk about a Cam or whoever not getting the benefits of certain calls, right?
Right.
And we're surprised, like, wait a minute, he got hit too, and it's like, oh, but because he's bigger or stronger or whatever the case, we're not going to call it. But yeah, of course, they all took advantage of the rules. I mean, I just blinked up and looked at basketball. I mean, all these dudes up here, there's people up here that would never make a team back in the 80s and 90s because all they do up here now is run and shoot, run and shoot. Nobody has any true fundamentals in the game anymore. They don't need to. All they need is one specialty and to be a little bit athletic, and you can play on a basketball team and make a team. Half of these cats in the league ain't making a basketball team back in the 80s and 90s because you actually had to have skills. Would you say?
I was having a conversation with somebody, I think it was Sunday night, flippant conversation, something about, no, it was the Washington Giants game where I said it was on the second touchdown pass that DeVito threw, where the first one was just embarrassing, where the tight end ran a wheel route and there was no pick, no nothing, and the guy just ran past everybody and people just watched him go by. I mean, no, I'm sorry, they didn't watch him go by. All eyes were just like this.
I think I remember that play. I think I
remember watching, and he went past them, and they were like, so the same thing on the second pass, literally just ran past four guys who were just, and they weren't necessarily staring in the backfield. It looked like they were just staring at their phones
or something. Right.
Or something.
And yeah, and so I made a joke about, I have never really seen, which I kind of had, but I've never seen it where the entire secondary, the entire back seven was just staring blankly directly in front of them as people were running patterns freely around and through and past them.
It was a zone.
And the person I was talking to said it was like a Pac-10 game, a Pac-12 football game. And I was like, no, not really. I mean, if you really want to be specific and you're really paying attention, all that is just a whole lot of bad fundamentals.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's right. Harbaugh boy. But we ain't got to talk about that. But anything else going on?
Well, I mean, the same thing is, I've been posing the same thought.
Let me see. I'm glad you said that, Pete. Let me see if they knocked Florida State out.
Posing the same thought about this whole thing. As you know, everybody's all upset. They're unzipping their pants and pulling their junks out, and everybody's about to pee all over each other. And then all of a sudden, oh, you know what? No, it's cool. You know what? We're just gonna take the league suspension and go quietly into the night as we get ready to play this game against Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And people were like, well, wait a minute, what happened? And I'm like, y'all been asking the wrong question about this since the very beginning. Okay, a guy he was paid by a booster or something to go, he was bankrolled to go,
yeah,
sign.
There you go. Yep.
All right, great. Every other team in the Big Ten was all upset or urging the commissioner to take instant, immediate action in advance of the NCAA, so on, so on, so on. When have you ever really seen that before?
Never. I mean, I at least not that I know.
Not that I can recall.
Right.
So the Big Ten, the Michigan said, they're gonna pull down their pants and take their switch. You know how it is when your parent made you go out to the bush and pick your own switch.
There you go.
Yeah. So right. So the Big Ten said, okay, we're gonna go pick our own switch. And yeah. Right. Couldn't do that with my dad.
I know. They go back.
Yeah. Don't make me come out there and pick it for you.
Right.
So yeah, they said the Big Ten presented no evidence. But really, new evidence. That's kind of what I'm talking about. What is really going on? It ain't just somebody taking video of a bunch of kids on the sideline signaling inside and deciphering it and all that. Something else is going on that you got this many people, other colleges sitting here talking about they think they're going to go rat on somebody. Ratting between schools in conference has been out of fashion since like 1984 because it's bad for business. Say what you want to say about the NCAA. When they're like your company HR, when they take out the file, they start looking at everything and everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you said this guy took some sort of illegal benefits on this recruiting trip, but he also went to that school there. Let's see what happened when that guy went to that school there. That happened to the entire. For those of y'all, I'm going to go on a rant here. For all of all the recently hardcore dedicated college football fans who were drawn to the game to become experts because Deion Sanders was at Colorado. Some of y'all are unaware that Colorado was actually a national power in the late 80s and early 90s. But more importantly, let's reflect on that time and find out how did all of a sudden Colorado get really, really good from like 87 to like 93. Well, what happened was Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and a gang of other schools in the Big Eight were all on probation.
That's fair.
Yeah, so everybody was on probation except for Nebraska and Colorado. National championships abound. You do the math.
Right.
Ain't nobody really, going back to the SEC days in the 60s and 70s and the Southwest Conference days and the Big Eight. Ain't nobody trying to see a whole conference go under again. These guys don't rat on each other like talking about it.
That's a good point.
But everybody got their panties in a wad in the Big Ten over some sign signal stealing. What is really going on out there?
Is it a Harbaugh hating thing? The fact that Michigan is I mean, they were good last year, but they look a lot better this year. Like they actually could challenge for the titles, or is it just a Harbaugh hating thing? I mean, just hating on Harbaugh?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. But I will say this:
the witch hunt, as Desmond called it. Desmond Howard.
He called it a witch hunt, but he's also
he ain't win no national championship. He got to be talking about a witch hunt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but Desmond Howard is also biased. It is, but I will say, to me, this, even though people are like, "Oh, the sign stealing, it happens in college all the time," it's this, that, and the third, blah 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 blah. I feel like there's more to it, as Previn said, kind of like with the Patriots, where everybody was like, "Oh, they're stealing. Oh, they're cheating. Maybe not really." And then when the league saw the tape, they burned the tape so nobody could see it and really figure out what was happening. There was definitely something there that they didn't want everybody to know that was going to be real bad for the league. And I feel like whatever's going on with Michigan is something that's going to be real bad for everybody involved if it comes to light. So the Pac-10 is like, if we do something now, maybe everybody will leave it alone and it'll go away.
The Big Ten.
The Big Ten, sorry. The Big Ten, yes. I feel like they're like, if we do something now, maybe the NCAA won't really come over here looking, because if they do, it's gonna be a whole problem.
But I think that's the so it's definitely.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick.
Oh, you good?
To Lanisa's point, and this ain't the NCAA of the 1980s. This is you know what? We're tired of getting sued. NCAA. We're tired of people talking about us being communists. NCAA. Now this is the NCAA is like, y'all really want us to get involved? Remember, when y'all wanted NIL, we did this. When y'all wanted transfer portal, we did this. Now everybody upset saying we need more leadership. We need more governance. Y'all really want us getting involved? Same thing right now. NCAA like, look, man, we just want to sit back here and make this money. Do you really want us to open up a file on this stuff?
Yep.
Is that what you really want?
Yep. And you made a good point that I was gonna go to is say people are talking about, the jurisdiction and who should get involved and how and the Big Ten and should it be the NCAA. Well, the bottom line with the NCAA is that, let's just call it what it is. We see it all the time with the SEC teams getting into playoffs. Of course, Big Ten teams, the big names, the blue bloods and all that. Do you really want a situation where Michigan is going to be on probation when they are actually good? We're not talking about, okay, teams that have been on, doing something wrong and they're mediocre or, whatever. They've actually really been good the last couple of years. They're making the NCAA a lot of money, a lot of ratings. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that the NCAA is benefiting from. They just want to sit back. Hey, if you want to go ahead, put your rule in place, do whatever you want. Long as Michigan, because I told somebody, it was like, well, how often do they make a quick decision? I was like, look, making quick decisions is relative. There are certain things that we've seen in the past. They could have made a quick decision. They could have made one. But there's certain things that there may be something to this that they're saying there's enough there that we should just sit back and let this play out. And then if they need us to come in and swoop and clean it up, we will. But NCAA probably won't say or do anything until after the season. They're not going to do anything right now. I mean, they wouldn't do it. If you put it in their hands, they weren't going to do anything right now about.
Well, that's what they were.
And will it really change anything? What do you say?
That's what Paul Feinbaum said. He was like, if the NCAA gets involved, he's like, it's going to be after the season. He's like, and it's going to take them at least a year to investigate.
There's something a little bit more juicy that we getting that they're not ready to let, especially the Big Ten, they're not ready to let out.
Yeah, somebody found out that somebody's bringing green bean casserole to Thanksgiving. Someone's not ready.
Oh, real quick, Prav. Did the Bears just throw that game or what?
No.
They just lost.
They just lost?
They just terrible. I know. Just looked like they threw the game to me.
Look, they realized they were going to win, and then they were like, wait, no, we don't want to do that.
We're winning? Okay. 2nd and 2, let's throw it deep. 3rd and 2, let's throw it deep.
Oh, God.
Oh, let's not guard people on the end of the game. Let's just walk.
Let's stay hard.
I'm sitting there saying, I said the real bad part about it is that's some pretty ballsy coaching for a staff that's not supposed to be here at the end of December.
That's crazy. It is what it
y'all
is.
Coaching like y'all gonna be here.
Right. Yeah. So.
And the whole staff needs to go from the rooter to the tutor.
Yeah. And on that note, hope ain't nobody, old school cats out there. I know some people in my family making pig feet and chitlins and all that nasty mess. I said it. I don't care if people eat it. It's nasty. Stop it.
Have to do that with more people.
I was about to say we are okay now. We're okay. We have choices. We have choices.
Over. In a lot of regards, the war is over. In some places, I've been there. They don't know the war is over. I tried to tell them.
Don't you say the city that you want to say right now, and that will come through the screen if you do.
I'm not going to go into Juneteenth or nothing like that, but
I know you was about to go with this.
Somebody has told them.
You said the war's over?
The war been over for some time.
For a long time.
Y'all don't have to eat that. Y'all don't have to.
You don't have to eat that no more. You don't have to bless the pot. You don't have to do any of the old school. Let's bless the pot. Like, if you gotta bless the pot.
Bless the pot.
No, I'm saying there's people that literally have a separate blessing for the chitlins.
Right.
Food.
I'm saying
we make chitlins and we're gonna let's pray over this. I'm like, what is happening right now?
The reason why you blessing the chitlins.
I have never heard of that. What?
I've seen it in different families, including mine. I will admit that.
You're right. Now, my immediate family, nobody blessed the pot of chitlins.
Yeah.
But I've witnessed one pot of chitlins being forsaken, and another pot.
Right. I was in there like, what is
that? Was the devil's chitlins over there. These are Jesus chitlins.
Right.
Well, because sometimes the devil's chitlins, they knew that whoever made them doesn't really clean the chitlins, and they was gritty.
And
like it makes a difference.
It's a
I'm just saying, you don't want no gritty chitlins. We've all had chitlins in our lives.
No, I have not. Never, ever, never
had chitlins?
I was tricked if I did. If I was, they told me it was something else. I probably ate it as a kid because I was greedy. I didn't get this girth and stuff by mistake. But when I knew it was a chitlin, absolutely the hell no, I have not had chitlins. I'm not opposed to if you eat chitlins. I'm just saying you don't have to.
You don't. I mean, you don't have to. But I mean, I didn't know it when I was a kid. My mom made them in my time. And I had them because I didn't know it. And then when I found out what they were, like, I was just like, well, I've had them and I like them, so there's no need for me to be like, I'm not gonna eat them because I know what they are. I have not had chitlins now, going on 20 plus years, because when my mom got sick, she stopped making chitlins, and I wasn't eating anybody else's chitlins. And
I totally understand that.
And
y'all have a blessed one, man. Peace out.
Peace out.
All right, later.